Welcome to a.r.e. Live. I'm Marc, the founder of Black Spectacles. Today I'm with Mike Newman, and we're going to be chatting with a few young architects who have recently passed the a.r.e. We've done this session once before, and it's pretty interesting. It's an opportunity for you guys to hear how some young architects did it. Everybody seems to have a slightly different approach, a slightly different way to do it. So I've always thought it was really cool to hear all the different nuances and different ideas. I know as I was sharing with a couple of our panelists today, when I happened to run into somebody when I was pursuing licensure, and somebody shared some great advice with me, and I took it, and it totally worked. So I'm excited today to share this opportunity to chat with a couple of folks. We have Allison Conley from Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture in Chicago. We have Amanda Snelson from ZGF Architects in Los Angeles. We have Kyle Richardson from Philonis Architects in Santa Monica, and as well as Ben Edwards from FFKR Architects in Salt Lake City. But before we get started, if you would like to attend our next a.r.e. Live broadcast, where we'll review our mock exam for the building design and construction systems, you can go to blackspectacles.com/podcast to register. And then during the broadcast, you'll have a chance to ask questions to the group and Mike. If for some reason you don't know Mike Newman, he's an adjunct professor at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. He's also the founder of Shed Studio, and he is the instructor for Black Spectacles online a.r.e. prep curriculum. And if you haven't already checked out our a.r.e. exam prep curriculum, you can head over to blackspectacles.com to watch any of the free tutorials from the courses. And then finally today, we have a very special Black Spectacles promo code to share, so make sure you stick around until the end for that. And we'll be taking questions using the GoToWebinar question box, as well as on Twitter using the hashtag a.r.e. Live Podcast. So again, a.r.e. Live Podcast is the hashtag. So with that, I'll hand it over to Mike.
So yeah, Marc, as you just said, one of the things that I think is really interesting about doing these sessions, is, as you said, this is the second one we've done, is we love hearing about all the different ways that people have started to think about how to do this. And there's a really wide variety of approaches, and there is no right answer, right? The question is, what's the right answer for you? And so kind of hearing this sort of range of different approaches, I think, is a really useful thing in terms of kind of helping for yourself to sort of define your path and to sort of test out some different possibilities. As I always say, it's always important to define a path and then change the path if that's not the path that was the right one as you kind of go through. And I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go along. The other thing that's sort of important to say is, in years past, these things were not necessarily something that you would schedule months and months apart. In fact, as I'm sure many of you have heard at different points when you've talked to anybody, the sort of older folks in your firms, I took it when it was still a paper and pencil exam, and you had to do, at that time it was, I think it was 9 exams if I remember correctly. You had to do all 9 in 4 straight days. And you did it, and if you didn't do it then, you waited an entire year to do it the next time. So life is a lot better now doing it on the computer. There's all these great advantages. You have this time, you can schedule in any sort of pattern that you want, and that's a great thing. It really is a sort of a useful thing. The downside, though, is that it has sort of made all of these individual exams very precious. And so people have a tendency to say like, oh, wait, I don't know, I can't sign up for it. I got to wait until I'm ready. So, in the old days, it was just like it came and you signed up and you did it and that was it. And you either passed or you didn't. And so there was something kind of low tech about that was very useful. So part of what we're going to end up talking about, I'm sure, is taking away some of that preciousness, finding a system that works for you, and then just kind of rolling forward with it. So on that note.
Yeah, I think maybe we can ask Allison, maybe we'll start with you. Can you maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit briefly about how you went about getting licensed?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm Allison Conley, and I'm here in Chicago. I finished the exams a couple months ago and just recently received my license. And yeah, thank you. So I spent about a year and a half going through everything, and I used a variety of study material, including Black Spectacles, another online course, and actually one of the Black Spectacles courses at the a.r.e. of Chicago.
Awesome.
So that was kind of my study technique.
Very good. Okay, I'll hand it over to Amanda. Amanda, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you sit with regard to licensure?
Yeah, so I'm Amanda Snelson from ZGF Architects here in Los Angeles, California. And I received my license back in October. It took me about 2 years to complete all 7 a.r.e.s plus the California supplemental exam. And I used a variety of study materials. Black Spectacles wasn't around for the first portion of my chunk of a.r.e.s, and just recently found out about you guys. So I wish that you guys were around whenever I was studying.
So October. So you're like an old hat at this point. Like,
I know,
yeah, cool.
right?
All right.
Kyle, how about you? Can you tell us a few words about yourself and your road to getting licensed?
Sure. I started taking the exams in 2006. These are the a.r.e. exams, and then finished them in 2010. And then registered for the CSE, which is the supplemental exam in California. And then got in the mix of job responsibilities and personal events that delayed me in taking it until about a week ago, in which I passed it.
Oh, wow, really?
Ooh.
It's kind of annoying that life...
Not something I advocate.
Yeah, so life actually weirdly gets in the way, doesn't it? How annoying is that?
It's something we can't plan for, but it does happen.